Are we back?
Let's take a look.
I think we're back.
I don't have an indication of the live stream yet. Oh, yes,
Um,
here we are. VAWMA's
yes,
live.
I have my live
Perfect.
stream. Okay.
No, we're live. So I'm going to share the stream again. And hello and welcome back to everybody. We've taken our first unofficial break.
Apparently, the CRTC didn't like what I had to say, so they shut us down.
There you go.
That's a rant for another day. But
All right, yeah, let's throw that in there. See if it's different. I think it's different. Yeah, it's a different stream. So I gotta
oh, neat.
bring in the places. And put that there. Oh, by the way, hello everybody. I am just putting stuff onto.
Yes, getting stuff back together.
Where were we? Do you remember what we were talking about?
I believe my camera started to tank when I started saying that as they increase the retirement age, we will not be able to retire. I am of the opinion, again, hashtag hot take, in my humble opinion, I specifically, am not going to be able to retire as there will not be a retirement age and social security or old age pension
Mhm.
will not be able to accommodate my age bracket. The way we are trending, with the way things are happening, I honestly do not feel that my age bracket will have a retirement.
I would agree with you in as much as I don't think any neoliberal or right wing politician will allow the CC or the Canadian Pension Plan, the CPP,
Yep.
to be raised to an amount where it's livable and also rise comparable taxes, especially those in the upper income bracket who can afford to pay more into the retirement plan. They won't increase it. Yeah. Now I'm thinking specifically in the states where they've capped it. I would be surprised if Canada has done something similar, because I mean, it's Canada. We do whatever the states does 4 years after they do it. Which
Right.
which in mind, does not bode well for the next coming elections. As I think about the right wing swing to Christian nationalism in the states, and but that's a topic for an entire different
And
discussion.
we'll put a pin in that one.
Yeah,
But
but
that's where
but
I
I
kind of get the idea of, so when you look at your paycheck right now, you
yep
have income tax, you
yep
have CPP,
yep
you have your own retirement plan that maybe your job pays into. All of that is already taken off of your living wage. And so, how am I expected to put more away for my retirement when I'm already putting stuff away for CPP? Oh, no, no,
right
no, no. That's not your retirement. That's your dad's retirement. You need to put your
right.
own money away for your own retirement because
But
old.
yeah, and I mean there's nothing wrong with if you as an individual want to set aside a little bit more of your money to for a little bit better retirement, which is how the conservatives and neoliberals have sold it to us this entire time of our entire lifetime, since the 80s, and but at the end of the day, like the way it's supposed to work is like when we get to retirement age, the
Yeah.
people who are not retired are paying for our retirement, right? And so unless when we retire, we take everybody else with us and everybody's retired at the exact same time, there's going to be a workforce that pays into are looking after our retirement at the time, at like when we get to that retirement
Right.
age. Now the fact that neolibs have changed the retirement age to like 70, and that's something that you and I are going to have to live under, based under this idea that our standard of living has increased to the point where people are living longer, therefore they can work longer. Thanks, neoliberalism.
I
And
I question if it's even a liberal or if it's a values. I
mhm,
was raised, take care of yourself because no one's going to take care of you. And so
yeah,
I was raised to be independent. I was
yeah,
raised that I need to take care of myself. So if you're
Yeah.
taking money off of my paycheck to pay for my dad's retirement, how am I supposed to take care of myself, and why am I taking care of him? If you, not you specifically, if I want to retire at 65 and it's up to me to put my own money away, stop taking it off my paycheck. Because the more money you take off my paycheck, the harder it is for me to pay the bills.
Okay. But again, like what the CPP isn't saving up for retirement though. It's paying into a retirement plan that is constantly being replenished by the people who are currently working, right?
Right. Not my
And
problem that you didn't pay for your retirement. Not my problem that you didn't put money away. It's my problem to pay for my retirement.
sure, and you can, and that's again, that's neoliberalism in a nutshell. We're all individuals, we use capitalism. It's to as a society, as an economic vehicle, and within that vehicle, it's up to the individual to look after themselves. Like that's Margaret Thatcher in a nutshell. That's Ronald Reagan in a nutshell. That's pretty much every like political philosophical position where instead of like looking at us as a society, as uh, a collection of human beings
Mm-hmm.
that again evolved to cooperate together and thrive together.
Mm-hmm.
It's pit us against each other, taking that
100%.
impulse to create that network of community, and it's actually penalized people and morally said you're a bad moral person if you somehow don't take it upon yourself to save up for retirement in the future, as though that's somehow a natural consequence. Well, again, it is a natural consequence, and also a natural consequence of being a lone person in the wilderness is that you die. That's the reason why we come together as a community, so that we don't die, so that
Right.
we do look out for each other and we do provide for each other, especially when we can't as an individual. So I'm a huge fan again of the CPP in that it's not a forced savings for retirement. The money I'm paying into it isn't being set aside for me for when I retire. It's everybody who is over a certain age gets to retire, and everybody who's paying in get that money goes to secure them. And then when it's your turn to retire, that money is there for you to retire because the
Right.
people who are still working now in the economy that you've left behind is paying into that thing to look after you. The only time this fails is when our civilization fails, which
Respectfully.
conservatives might drive us to, because
Right?
they want the failure. They because when things suck, like the fascists can basically then turn to people and say, see, democracy doesn't work, let us be in control, we'll make things great again.
And so, to
Yeah.
that point, we pay CPP so that when you get to a certain point, you retire. Hashtag hot take. When you get to be 70, get the fuck out of Dodge and let us take the jobs.
65. you know
65.
um yeah.
Unfortunately, we have people who are working until they're 80, 82,
Mm.
right?
And the question is
Because
why.
they don't make enough money.
Exactly.
And so now we need
Exactly.
to use more money for CPP to pay those people. It's an endless cycle that we're never going to be able to fix.
Well,
Here's the other issue,
yeah.
though, is that in order to pay into CPP, you need to have a job. Perfect.
Yes.
We, as a society, have decided what are good jobs and what are bad jobs. People want to work.
Yeah.
But when you are constantly told, you can do better than that, that's a shitty job. Oh, why don't you do something better? You know what? I did do something better. I am a transformational life coach. I am working in the mental health field. I have found my fulfillment and my life purpose. And now there's no one to put milk on the shelf. Congratulations.
Mm.
Because I was told for 15 years, why are you working at Walmart? You're so much better. Why are you doing this? It's so much better. You're so
Mm.
smart. Why are you in a dead end job? I liked my job. But you know what?
Yeah.
When you're poked at every day saying your job is shit, your job is meaningless, you're treated like trash, people don't want to work. They don't
Yeah.
want to work for retail because when there's no milk on the counter and you get spit in the face, your car gets vandalized, I don't want to do
Mm,
that. I don't want to
yeah.
work for you. I want to go to a job where I'm appreciated on both sides of the fence, whether it be customer service or management. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist.
Yet. Because that's why we're here, right? Like we want to create the job environment that works for us as workers, but also works for our customers. So our customers get what they want: friendly customer service, reasonably priced items on the shelf, knowledgeable staff. That's what the customer wants. That's what the consumer wants. They want a good deal, and they want it with a smile. And what we want is for our the people who are stocking the shelves to feel empowered, to feel a sense of ownership and a sense of fulfillment, as when their hard work ultimately contributes to the what we produce as a cooperative into that surplus. They will get a slice of that surplus. So they work hard, they actually receive, not in the form of wages, but in the form of patronage,
Mm-hmm.
money back. And yeah, I was going to go down the rabbit hole of like the tax incentives to, like, because the money you get taken out in patronage, if you leave it in, you don't get taxed on, or
Right.
something like that. It's all confusing.
Mm.
um but it's there are ways of incentivizing, or you end up paying less tax if you take it in the form of patronage than if you take it in the form of wages,
Mm-hmm.
is what it basically boils down to. And with a cooperative, with patronage, I believe you end up paying less taxes than you would if they were like dividends, sort of thing. There, so like there's just there's incentives all around to like set yourself up as a cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Although that having been said, I don't mind paying more taxes if I can afford it. If what I'm left over with at the end of the day increases my quality of living, across the board. Um, I personally want to be a part of a structure that, on a macro level, on a national level, or hell, even on an international level, looks out for every single human being on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Um, I have zero faith that our current, swath of choice of neoliberal politician A, B, or C, or D, will ever be able to accomplish anything like that,
Right.
because they're too busy, kissing up to the oil and gas industry, or the mining industry in Canada,
Absolutely.
or
Corruption
they
is
know
king.
where their bread is buttered. Like they know who ultimately is putting them in positions
Money
of,
talks.
yeah. And you can say it's the people voting them into power. Yeah, I think the at the end of the day, we just get to vote for the people that they are allowing us to vote for, right?
Well, and that goes to the
And
point that I was saying a
mm,
couple of weeks ago, that there's so much voter apathy, it has literally
mhm,
turned into a democratic dictatorship where we vote on who's going to tell us what to do. But
yeah,
because the voter apathy is so high, you only have a handful of people that are actually going out to vote, because the idea is my vote doesn't matter. It
yeah.
doesn't matter what I have to say because this guy's going to get voted in anyway. And so, what's the point of voting?
Yeah, when you stop viewing the political landscape through the partisan lens, through party lenses, and you start viewing it through the lens of, okay, well, let's add up your policies and let's see where your policies take you. You begin to realize that every single party, it basically has the same fundamental policies, when it comes to economics, and it's just like they're different flavors on how they will. Uh, uh, how much personal individual freedom you have
That's right.
as an individual within our country to be able to do what it is you want to do.
Yeah,
The right says, yeah, we're the party of freedom if you have the money to pay for it. The
that's right.
left says we're the party of freedom, if you want to get married to whoever you want to get married, or if you want to bring in people from around the world, that's cool too. we're, and if you want to carry a pregnancy to term, or if you don't want to carry a pregnancy to term, that's up to you. Like, that's the kind of personal freedom I'm interested in. The kind of personal freedom you get if you have a deep wallet is not like the kind of personal freedom that is gate kept behind paywalls is not
Yes.
freedom to me.
Sure.
And so, like, I abhor the conservative worldview with regards to their paywalls and all that fun stuff. I would much rather live in a society where we all chip in a little bit in order to have a base minimum level of survivability for everybody who's a citizen, and then go from there.
Right.
Um,
And I think that is where selling that idea. Oh no, is everything okay?
oh yeah, yeah,
Everything's fine, nothing's broken. And I think that's where you and I have had this conversation before, and I think we just need to label this VAWMA episode like VAWMA Chats hashtag hot takes.
sure,
Because I am of the opinion that charity starts at home. Once I get myself to the point where I am comfortable, I am able to handle my stuff, then I can help you. Until
right.
I can get my shit sorted,
Mhm.
if I have debt from a car, I can't save money. If I have debt from X, Y, or Z, why am I
Yeah,
putting money away for a retirement when I have a car that I'm being paid off? So once I get myself figured out, then I can help you. Because if I'm worried about helping you, I will give you the shirt off my back and the last $20 in my pocket. And then I come to you and I say, "Hey, remember that 20 bucks I gave you last month?
mm,
I need help. Sorry about your luck. I don't have anything left." People are
yeah,
in it for themselves.
yeah. I
And
think, and yeah.
and
Sorry,
that
continue
goes
to
to
talk.
my sorry, this is where I'm going to go down a rabbit hole, and I'm a
Yeah,
little spicy. You and I had this conversation earlier
sure.
today. I'm a little spicy. People are in I use the terms inherently evil because it's me first. It's you
Yeah,
second.
like evil in the D&D sense of the idea, where it's
Yes.
like you are inclined, if you come across a beggar in the street, with a handful of coins, begging for
Free change.
uh yeah, exactly, right. Do you like,
Do I give him the $2 in my pocket or do I go buy myself a coffee?
right. And some people are just like, you know what, I don't know this guy, I don't owe them anything, and I'm thirsty, I'm gonna go get myself a coffee. And you know what, I can't make those decisions for other people. I don't think it's on the individual is responsible for any other individual with regards to that. Like, I can't compel somebody to want to do something altruistic for their fellow human being.
Right.
What I would like to do is, set up our economy and our society in such a way so that that person is who is looking for change, has their basic needs met. And anything else is like, surplus to that, is bonus to that. But they, in terms of like food, shelter, clothing, and we should have these things in place where it's like it's a human right. Yeah, I don't know.
It should be. 100% it should be a human right. I should be able to go out and I should be able to buy a house. I should be able to pay my rent. I should be able to go find a job that is able
Well,
to work with me and my mental health and allow me to fulfill my role in society. But
and there should be things like housing, like, and if like private developers are not providing housing at a reasonable level of exchange for the right to live in a place, I believe it should absolutely be the government's place to step in and make socialized housing, either through the
they
form
do.
of like
They have the
subsidizing.
they have the co-op housing.
The
They
like
have
co-op
guaranteed
housing
income.
is, but again, co-op housing isn't the same as like socialized housing. And like from what I understand, the amount of funding that the federal government and the provincial governments have been putting into public housing programs has been gutted since the 1990s.
Absolutely, it
Like
has.
they gutted it in the 90s. They stopped investing in public housing, and as a result, we do not have enough affordable housing for people like me. Like I can't afford to rent any place in town. I'm lucky I have a room to rent. And but the idea of having a place where I can have two rooms for a bedroom for myself and a room for my kids,
That's
or
right.
two rooms for each individual kid,
Mm-hmm.
that would be that's the dream. And it's an absolute, then that's all it is, because the
And it
reality
shouldn't
is.
be.
Exactly. And, but we don't have the kind of governments in place. You would need socialists in place because they believe that we should invest in the public good. And right now, the public needs housing. We got homeless people everywhere because they can't afford houses, even if there is one available. Well, build them housing and let them live there rather than on the street.
And the biggest argument you get is where do you get the lumber to build a house?
We have lumber, right?
For a
Like
very
but the
pretty penny, the lumber is expensive AF,
fine, then we build using concrete. We
right?
build using the resources that make sense, and we
100%.
use the
But
government to.
always the pushback though, is where do
mm,
you get the funding from? Well, we'll take it from taxes. We'll raise the taxes. I don't want to pay
I
more
mean,
taxes. Well, then we're not going to build any houses.
I mean, I will admit that I've dabbled a little bit in mixed monetary theory.
Mhm.
Um, is mixed monetary theory, MMT,
Yep.
where they talk about, like, when you have a fiat currency, the taxes are basically there to balance out, uh, to keep inflation from running away. And so the reality is the government needs the money.
Mhm.
It just prints it, and it puts it into the system through is
Yep.
either in the form of jobs, or in the form of creating programs, or in the form of loans to private corporations that then carry out the wishes of whatever it is. But at the end of the day, as I understand it, our, when our tax dollars go in,
Mhm.
the CRA basically says, thank you for your tax dollar, and they put it into a wood chipper and they cancels it out. And then when they need the money, they just print the money. And it's like this idea that it's our tax, like our taxes and our system and our economy runs the same way that our kitchen, roundtable, personal individual finances run. It's just not reality. And at least it hasn't been since we haven't been based on, like,
The gold
a gold
standard.
standard or
Yep.
anything like that. And to that end, like, if we can decide where we put our resources, be it into the military industrial complex, or be it into education, well, fuck, let's put it into education. Let's make K through 16 education, like, federally or provincially funded, and just make it so that when you're done high school, you then go on to post-secondary education, and it's covered. Maybe you can make the argument that we can still have the odd private college here and there, but I want to see K through 16 education. I think education is super valuable to a civilization, and it should be subsidized and covered by the government. But in a neoliberal world, you have to pay for it out of pocket for everything, and then you're stuck in the cycle of debt. For the rest of your life, you're basically an indentured servant at that point, where you are stuck in a cycle of having to be their wage slave, and they pay you just enough to cover your loans, if that. And it's infuriating. And that's to bring it all back to why we're here in the first place. VAWMA is the attempt to take those people and emancipate them from the cycle of being wage slaves, where you're only in the industry where they'll pay you enough to cover your loans, but not enough to get out, or out from underneath them, if you're lucky enough to get a job in the field that you train for. And in VAWMA, because we're going to be basically, again, running it ourselves, we get to negotiate amongst ourselves, what it is that we pay ourselves. And if we can look at what we're bringing in, and All you have to do is look at the capitalist world and see how much money they make.
Mm-hmm.
And, even throughout our recessions, even throughout our COVID and stuff, like we've got a couple of industries that have been making stupid record profits,
Yep.
and prices are all going up everywhere. I wonder if the two are related. Um, but you know, uh, if they're out there making stupid mad
Mm-hmm.
profits off of the backs of us working people, why don't we just sidestep working for them and work for ourselves? I mean, that's it in a nutshell. That's the origin of the VAWMA idea. Is like, if we're already proved that we can do the work, why don't we do the work instead of for them? We do it for ourselves instead. And then, if and when we make a profit, we split it amongst ourselves rather than it going to the 1%.
Well, and that goes back to my argument from previous is that
Mm.
people want to work. They don't
Mm.
want to work for you. And I don't mean
Yeah.
you specifically. I mean, they don't want to work for the giant corporations. They don't want to work for the big box. They don't want
Yeah.
to work for the one percenters because they don't feel valued. Workers want
Yeah.
to feel valued. They
Yeah.
want to feel appreciated. They want to feel when they get up in the morning that they have a purpose in life.
Hmm.
And that's what VAWMA is for. That
That's
is,
the
and I
intent.
want to, we're coming up on time, and so I do want to cap this with a positive that um, some people out there might think that you and I are actually going head to head in a disagreement. We had already spoken that you and I were going to be having this conversation.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You and
yeah.
I had
Absolutely.
already pre framed that, I'm a little spicy today and we were going to have differencing of opinions. So I don't want people out there thinking that this was literally just airing our dirty laundry and fighting back and forth. This was
Oh
actually
no.
a air quotes scripted back and forth where I wanted to be that guy. I want to
Hmm.
bring the questions that I know you have. I
Right.
wanted to be that guy that said, "Why should I join VAWMA?" Oh, that's why.
Well, and I think like you bring up some like valid questions, absolutely. And if you like you were raised as to be an individual, I was more or less raised to be a religious minion. Um, but so many of us, I think, are raised to be like hyper individualistic. And one of the things that I'm like, okay, fine. If people are individualistic in the D&D sense of the idea, if people are intrinsically evil, that is to say, they are self-interested,
Yep.
or they at least have the capacity for self-interest, and that all of our actions that we take are filtered through at least one filter of, does this meet my self-interest, yes or no? Some of us are broken, and some of us, that filter means very little, and we become doormats and all that other fun stuff. But nope, losing my train of thought. Bringing back. I think one of the things I want to do with VAWMA is to incentivize altruism. So if we do that, then it becomes in your best interest. It becomes the selfish thing to do to look out for your fellow member.
That's right.
And in doing so, we're appealing to the parts of human nature that are like, I'm in this for myself, but I also recognize that my best chances of survival are being a part of the group, being a part of the tribe.
That's it.
Being not on the outside. I might be the best hunter in the world, but and I might even be able to sell my own clothes. I might be able to do it all myself, but at the end of the day, I think the healthiest, happiest humans are the ones that are found in community amongst friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to that end, like I really like, it's so difficult to build a vibrant, healthy community in our world. At best, we get that sense of community tickled when we go to sporting events, or go to church.
Yep.
And if you aren't particularly interested in either, you get it when you play Dungeons and Dragons. And there's maybe we can build towards a live with advantage segue here, but because and this is something I actually really appreciate about your business tag, about the idea that when you take the help action, the person that you've helped rolls with advantage. And I think that that's basically what we're trying to do as a business venture, is trying to set us all up so that we as a community of owners are going to be constantly giving the help action to each other in order to succeed as a business model. Whereas before, under the capitalist structure, the manager incentivizes you to do your work by saying, I won't fire you if you do what I tell you to do.
That's it.
uh, so
100%.
it's a completely different frame of motivation here. We're no longer doing the work because we're afraid if we don't we'll be fired. We're doing the work because uh, I need to get out of bed in the morning, and I need to do something with my life. And if I'm going to do something with my life, I would much rather like put food in people's stomachs, bums on seats, laughs in people's bellies, and do it in such a way that produces, again, good, healthy communities, good, healthy human beings. And yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on all that. I don't know. I know it's 10:30. Maybe we should do the outro. We kind of lost like 5 to 10 minutes in the middle there. Maybe
We
we can
did.
go a
I
little bit
mean, I
longer, but
don't I don't mind going over. As
hmm.
long as we feel that, the conversation is complete. And I feel like this is one of those conversations that we can always build on. Um
Yeah.
mhm.
But it's so relevant too, because like essentially, like the saltiness that you were describing earlier is, it's more or less taking the default right wing conservative position, or coming at it from like that sort of like
Yeah.
worldview. And like let's face it, like we're in the Grey Bruce. There are blue and purple flags everywhere. That's going to be the mentality of the vast majority of people that are going to be coming into our network. And what we're proposing is that we be community owned, worker directed, which is a very, very different approach to how we can do business. But I think it's such an intriguing way of doing business, because like, and I know that privately, with regards to the coffee pub idea that we had been talking about, you were wondering whether or not, I don't know if I can, sorry, I've already
Yeah.
started.
No, go for it. Yeah.
But you were like, why do we want to expand the network of owners to the consumers? Like, it just feels like I'm
Mm.
splitting my share between more people,
Yes.
and I don't like that. Like, where's my personal incentivization there? And I
Yeah.
think, that's a good thing to wrestle with. And for me, community ownership makes sense, especially at the beginning, because it's essentially free money. You
Yeah.
don't pay taxes on members' dues, and it's money that you can immediately put to work, within the organization and the system. So the more community members we have chipping in $25 a month, $300 a year, the more of those we have, the more just money, just cash flow we're going to have, that we can, if we need to buy eggs and milk today and we haven't had any customers yet, it's okay. We got the members dues we can dip into. We can go get the eggs and milk, and then we can serve that to our customers,
Right.
in an emergency,
Yeah.
right? So having that, also having the consumers being members right from the very get-go, means you have a very motivated core of consumers that are going to be wanting to come to your business from day one. Because for every, again, random example, this number is subject to change,
Yeah.
but say for every $50 you spend at our coffee
Mm.
pub and bakery, you get as a consumer member, you get a share of patronage, which over the course of the year adds up. And part of how patronage is calculated is, there will be two different accounts within our counting. One account will be patronage for the consumer members, and one will be patronage for the worker members.
Mm.
So when you work your hours at the coffee pub, and you get your patronage based on how many shifts you've worked. And what I'm thinking, again, subject to change, but you get a quarter share of patronage for every hour you work. and our shifts would be scheduled to be 4 hours long. Just in my mind, just go with it for now.
Yep.
And so for each shift you work, each 4 hour shift you work, you would get a share of patronage as a working member.
Mm-hmm.
When we, at the end of the year, when we calculate how much money we've made and how much we owe in taxes and blah 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 blah, after we paid our taxes, we then have the surplus. We have what's left over. The board of directors is legally mandated. They have to set aside a certain amount um, for savings
Okay.
for the future, for rainy days. They then set aside a certain amount to be reinvested in future expenditures, expansion, new business, that sort of thing. And then in VAWMA, we will have the third portion, which would be payouts. And payouts would then be subdivided into 3 or 4 categories, depending on how many different member shares we have. But that payout section would then be broken up into the community investment fund and then patronage. And patronage is subdivided into workers' patronage and consumer patronage.
Okay.
So everybody who's a member of VAWMA is by default a consumer member. So you, me, the person down the street who just wants to come and get coffee, buy bread from us, we are all members of VAWMA. We are all consumer members. We all pay the $300 a year / $25 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we get the vote on the board of directors. We get a share of the patronage based on the amount of money we spend at the cooperative. Of the consumer members that are there, some of us will be working members at the business, at the coffee pub and bakery, and there will be an associated buy-in for them. So they can pay a little bit more money than the $300 a year. We can go into the details about that at some other point in time, but suffice to say, it's more. And it's doesn't end up, anyway, it's more. But the workers then get to form the sociocracy circles that run those businesses.
Okay.
There will be a community member as part of that circle. So the community interests are represented within the circle, and circles in this context is a colloquialism to referring to sociocracy circles, which is the method of governance that I would want to employ within our cooperative.
Right.
Sociocracy is a method of achieving group consensus-based decision making, really. And because everybody who is a working member is a part owner, has the right to shape and form the policy, this is the vehicle through which we do it.
Yes.
So suffice to say, community member are represented within community interests are represented within our circle, the people who run the business, as well as the people who are scrubbing the toilets, the people who are serving the customers, the people who are baking the bread, the people who are taking care of the books, the people who are everybody who has a stake in how this thing in the success of this thing and the running of this thing has a say in this thing. And as a result, they get workers' patronage. So for every 4 hours you work, you get a share of patronage, and that comes from a different group, a different pile of money, a different pile of patronage than you come from the consumer share. And who determines the size of the consumer share and the size of the worker share is the board of directors. And we all vote for who the board of directors will be as a member of VAWMA. So we get to decide who those people calling the shots will be. And if they call the shots in a way that we don't like, we can fire them and hire and vote in somebody who will put more money to patronage if that's what we want, or put more money towards community investment if that's what we want, or however it ends up working. But even the board of directors uses sociocracy to achieve the results. So when it comes down to determining what the size of the patronage is, both the community and the working members have to negotiate with each other, on that board of directors in order to come at something that's mutually acceptable to both sides. So it's a democratic process, is what it boils down to. And at the end of the day, you as a working member, your patronage comes from a separate source than the consumer patronage, which you also get access to as a consumer member. So you kind of get the double dip. So
Right.
for every $50 you spend in the business, you get patronage shares that you can cash in at the end of the year, as well as for every 4 hours you work, you get a patronage share. That you get to cash in at the end of the year. So,
And so, if I wanted to become a member of VAWMA, if I
mhm.
want more information on VAWMA, how do I get a hold of you? What do?
I would recommend for right now the best place to follow us and be included in the circle for information
Mm-hmm.
would be through our Facebook group,
Cool.
which I know we've promised to put in the doodly doo before. We should probably get on top of that and maybe do that for next week
Oh,
or put it in
yeah.
post. But that's probably the best place to connect with us from now. We do have a website, www.vawma.com. That's VAWMA.com. And it stands, of course, for the Voluntary Association for Work and Mutual Aid. Um, I was going to say that reminds me of a flag I had from long ago in response to something you said previously
Yeah.
with regards to charity, and it's like charity is individual and hierarchical. We don't want to engage in charity. I want to engage in mutual aid, which is lateral and really lifts people up. But again, we've run out of time, so
I'm madly getting the links to VAWMA and the website.
yay.
Um, I think there is another one here somewhere. Talk amongst yourselves while I go through all of my stuff.
Well, and I would just to say, like, on the website, which is really is, I say this every time, it's more or less a very well put together placeholder. Uh, it's an information station, which with information which may or may not be up to date at this point. And that's fine. It gives you the rough idea of kind of where we're heading and going as an organization. VAWMA.com. You can also contact us through our website at info@vawma.com. That comes to me. That's always fun. If I ever get any emails from that, I'll be tickled pink, and be curious to respond to any questions or any thoughts people may have. Yeah.
Right.
But Kat,
So,
you've got something that you're doing too.
yes. So, uh, brain fart loading
Twitch.
error 404. Thank you. Professional streamer.
Yay.
No. My name is Kat, and I am a transformational life coach with executive coaching experience. Executive coaching focuses on business building. If you want to know how to build a business, if you think you have a business idea that you want to get off the ground, if you want more information on how to start your own business, that's where I fit in. I am an entrepreneur myself. Live with Advantage is my transformational life coaching business. I also have a Twitch page that I bring mental health discussions to the interwebs. Every morning, you can join me from 7 to 8 Eastern Daylight Time, where we talk about self awareness and breath, motivation, meditations. Um, I challenge you with thought challenges of how much today's challenge, for example, is how much of your life skills today did you learn from Super Mario Brothers video game? And
Yeah.
I think you're going to find out a lot of your soft skills you learned from video games. As adults, why did we stop playing? Who told us to stop playing? You can also catch me as I delve into Path of Exile and Chill. That is my latest video game and chill series, where at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays,
Hmm.
I play Path of Exile, and we talk about how Path of Exile can develop your executive coaching decision making as well as your executive coaching leadership skills. Video Games and Chill is essentially my gamifying of mental health conversations and how we can see that we always choose a certain genre of character based on who we are authentically. So,
Hmm.
with all of that being said, my name is Kat. I am a transformational life coach, and you can find all of my information at www.livewithadvantage.com. James was nice enough to go through my tagline earlier. In Dungeons and Dragons, when a player uses the help action, the other player gets to roll with advantage. So let me use the help action to help you live with advantage.
Nice. And to answer your question earlier, who told us to stop playing video games? I'm pretty sure it was boomers.
Right? And
Ugh.
actually, if you check out my VOD today, today is day one of telling the generation before us, thank you. I appreciate you, and I acknowledge that you set me on the path that I am today in the direction. I got it from here. And we stop listening to generation before us. And we start changing the generation after us. We start
Yeah.
leaving the world in a better place than the way we found it.
Yeah, because I really feel like the boomers dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah. So, with
Yeah.
all that being said,
It's interesting. You like as you're just talking about the video games thing,
yeah,
like it just makes sense to me that we would like video games are basically about lighting up dopamine or like pleasure centers in the brain, right? And it's amazing to me that there is such a resistance to using this medium of communication, which does lights our brain up with delight in such a way that we use it to our advantage to learn how to incorporate life skills and all that other great stuff. And just to bring it back to VAWMA for a second, in conversations I've had with people, one of the reflections I've heard it said is almost like this is like the gamification of forming a business.
it is.
And actually they've suggested that we try to take the ideas in endemic to like how VAWMA would work and turn it into like a kind of board game or video game, just so we can play through a year or three's worth of the business, if you will,
Well,
role
and
played
that's
and yeah.
the insert SimCity.
Yes, yeah.
Or what is it, Diner Dash, or Plate Up, or
Hmm.
insert any game here. Like, it is so easy. And that's why I bring game mechanics into life coaching.
Hmm.
Because The Legend of Zelda taught me how to problem solve. Why is this door always locked? Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta go talk to the Zorus first, then come back and talk to him. Perfect. As an adult, when we apply for a job and we're told, door's locked, why do we not come back after we get the skills? We're just
Hmm.
like, welp, this is my life now. Why don't we come back?
Yeah.
Legend and Zelda and philosophy. There's so many aha moments that we can have where we're like, you figured out this game mechanic as a kid. You have the dexterity to remember AB, up, down, up, start, select is the Konami code for Infinity Lives.
Yep. Yep. I remember doing that.
Right?
Several Konami games. Yeah, on my
Exactly.
old Nintendo. Life
Exactly. Or
Force,
the
up,
warp
down, down,
whistle.
left, right, BA, start.
You have micromanagement that
Mm.
says I need to go through every single level of this game individually. And then you have the okay, I get the mechanics of this game, I'm going to skip to the end. It's the same result. But
Yeah.
how'd you get there? The quick way or the tedious way?
Right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Don't forget, you're awesome.
Absolutely. Have a great day, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.